I feel like Simon didn't say you could sit down, but that's okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Adena Danuve. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the Director of Lifespan Religious Exploration. Now, today in our service, it's going to look a little different than usual. We might sing right now, but instead we are going to participate in something we are calling Bloom, a musical movement meditation. So, because we're not singing, we are going to use other parts of our bodies instead to join together in fellowship. So you could stand back up if you wanted to, if that feels comfortable, or you can sit in your seat if you want to do that, or you might even want to spread out in the aisle if you think you're really going to get into it. And for those at home, you can do what you see fit. But we are going to use our bodies, and there will be some music. So this is what we're doing, y'all. So to begin, we are going to start out as seeds. So think of what you might need to do with your body to be a seed. What does being a seed mean to you? What does it sound like? Jonathan, can you play us some seed music? Okay. What does being a seed look like with your body? Can you make yourself feel small? Make yourself feel tight? Make yourself feel compact? Do you feel like everything is tense and bunched up together inside of you? As seeds often do, we are going to begin to sprout. What does being a sprout mean to you? What does it sound like? Jonathan, how about we sprout a little? I love it. What does it look like with your body? You stretch out just a little bit, make yourself feel lightly opened, a little looser. I see some looseness, yes. Do you feel like everything is a little less tense and maybe you're ready for some change? And as sprouts often do, we are going to become plants. What does being a plant mean to you? What does it sound like? Oh, Jonathan has plant music happening. What does it look like in your body? Are you stretching out just a little bit more, making yourself feel stronger, more rooted? Do you feel like everything is loosening up and you are budding with potential? And as plants often do, we are going to take those buds and we are going to bloom. What does blooming mean to you? What does it sound like? What does it look like with your body? From up here, the blooming is beautiful. We're stretched out strong. Can you feel boldness inside of you? Maybe loose and free, some wind blowing through our blooms here. Do you feel the glory and the majesty that was inside of you all along? Take it in, soak it up, and now, as you are ready, return back to being a person. But don't lose your strength, don't lose your beauty, for you have bloomed. Carry that with you today and tomorrow and all your days through. And you may actually be seated. And now we are going to move into our flower communion ritual. If you're here in person and you still have your flower or you didn't bring one, that's okay. But you can bring it forward. If you're online, you are welcome to participate in this ritual as well. You can copy and paste an image into the chat box if you're tech savvy. And if not, you could maybe type some words of what your flower looks like and put that in the chat box instead. And we're going to enjoy a brief De Colores interlude.
We begin our ritual with the story of Norbert Capek's flower ceremony. As told by UU ministers Reverends Teresa and David Schwartz, and somewhat adapted for us. His mother was a devout Catholic, his father agnostic, and in that years followed, he became disillusioned. At 18, apprenticed to his uncle, a tailor, Norbert discovered the Baptists and became a minister. He founded almost a dozen churches from Ukraine to Budapest. Yet slowly, his faith became more and more liberal. He left Bohemia under government threat and accepted a call to serve a Baptist church in New York City until one day in 1919. That day, he wrote in his diary, "I cannot be a Baptist anymore, even in compromise. The fire of new desires, new worlds is burning inside me." Norbert and his wife, Maya, joined a Unitarian church in New Jersey in 1921. For the same reason a whole lot of you did. Their children liked the religious education program. That's the power of our Sunday school teachers, kids. That's your power too. World War I ended. His home country now independent, he and his family returned back to Czechoslovakia. His Unitarian church was the Prague Liberal Religious Fellowship. The traditional Christian communion service of bread and wine wouldn't meet the needs of his congregation because his church, like ours, had people who believed different things. Capek turned to the beauty of the countryside, to the beauty of flowers.
So in 1923, Norbert Capek developed the flower ceremony. He asked his congregants to bring a flower to church from their gardens, the field, or even the roadside. He invited each person to place their flower in a vase or on a table. There was a church community no less unique for being united. Following the service, each person could take a flower from the vase, a different one than they had brought. Capek was a visionary minister with a church ahead of its time, a bold church, a church thinking beyond its doors, beyond what it thought possible. It was a church that was willing to take risks, to make tough decisions, to bear disappointment, and to build a new way. First, by building a church, and that church could build up the world. That is our church. That was Capek's church. For this, the Gestapo arrested him in 1942. The Nazis accused Capek of listening to foreign broadcasts and sent him to a concentration camp. Even in starvation and torture, he held a flower ceremony with his fellow prisoners, finding whatever flowers they could among the weeds of the camp. They testified to a beauty larger than themselves and a love that would outlive them. Norbert Capek died in his concentration camp, but his spirit, courage, and commitment live on today. Those qualities have passed now to us to make them real. His wife, Maya, brought the flower ceremony to the Unitarian Church in Cambridge, Massachusetts in 1940.
What we are about to do is not a historical reenactment of something over and done, but an affirmation of our continuity with the generations. This flower ceremony, lovely though it is, isn't a diversion from ugly reality, but a gentle fierceness which proclaims that in the midst of ugliness and oppression, there is always beauty. We are here not to recall something that happened, but to remember something that is happening, to put it back together again, and in that remembering, may we put ourselves back together again, each as part of the body of this community, out of many one. And so today we celebrate this ritual with some solemnness and joy as well. And so as Capek asked his people to bring and receive a flower and celebrate beauty, so do we. I'm going to do a little litany now, just to remind us what the flowers we are about to receive are about. Will you repeat after me? May the flower remind us that beauty is always present. May the flower remind us that beauty is always present. You got it. May the flower remind us that beauty is always present. May the flower remind us that beauty is always present. That's going to keep being your line. Even when we are sad, may the flowers remind us that beauty is always present. Even when we are mad, may the flowers remind us that beauty is always present. Even when we are hurt, may the flowers remind us that beauty is always present. So now, if you are online, you can choose a flower that was described or in the slideshow that you saw before, or maybe you'll peer out your window and see a beautiful flower out there. And those in person, won't you come to receive a flower now? I will tell you, you can choose from live flowers that will be beautiful and whose life will end, or to supplement our flowers. We also have some little plastic buds. So if you would like something that will last for longer, I invite you to choose a plastic bud. May the receiving of flowers begin.
Wonderful job, everyone. Now, hold your flower in front of you really peering into it. And join me in a new, slightly adapted, responsive line. May this flower remind me that beauty is always present. May this flower remind me that beauty is always present. Even when I am sad, may this flower remind me that beauty is always present. Even when I am mad, may this flower remind me that beauty is always present. Even when I am hurt, may this flower remind me that beauty is always present. Even when the world is sad, mad, or hurt, may this flower remind me that beauty is always present. May it be so, and may we make it so. Amen.